Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gimson Rosko Show. Roscoe is still on that train to Hereford. It's been 3 weeks and he's still on it. I forgot to say in the last 2 episodes, don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, cool. And today, I'm joined by IAM13E, aka Blaze.
Yo.
Welcome.
Thank you. Woo, woo, woo. Great to be here.
I always start with like 3 good things that happened to you today.
Today, 3 good things that happened to me today. One new client that was, in fact, it's new clients, which has been fun. The bodywork, structural integration, and just witnessing like a human being's glow afterwards. I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
like that just fulfills me, as well as seeing a human being like walk away floated. Do you know what I mean? Number 2, what's the second good thing that's happened to me? That I'm here. Yeah, man. I could be here. Like definitely. Like as I was listening to the mushrooms and stuff. Yeah. Like one on the way back from like when I was driving home to Bristol yesterday. It just gave me bare joke. Like you made me really flipping. I could just hear the pear drops. And I was craving pear drops. Oh wait.
Oh, is that one? Yeah. The trouble is when me and Roscoe do ones, it's just me and him.
Yeah.
Because we don't really structure them. We don't really structure anything because I kind of like the free flow and I have points that I want to go to. But like generally it's like nice when it's just organic and free flowing conversation. So when it's me and him, we just don't have anything planned and it's just like, we just speak what's on our mind and it's like, and they might not come out till like 3 weeks later and then people like come and it's like, what the fuck did I say? Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's a joy of content. And then third thing... I am processing a lot currently, and I'm really grateful for the way I have been able to observe me feeling certain things and observe that observation. So I'm more present with what I call like an ever-present witness. So as a state of that, and finding like joy in my day wherever that has been. So that's a today, a whole round thing. Bun it. Like I'm present with what I'm presently present with.
Yeah, man.
Like, I hear you. That's. I'm grateful.
I'm gonna go to say like I was gonna ask you, like if you journal, like if you write gratitude and stuff, do you practice that daily? Like, do you take time out to do that daily?
I have recently gone back to journaling. Because when I was a kid, I broke my right hand, so I wrote with my left hand for ages. And then when I started like training this bodywork, from March until September of the year that I started, I wrote exclusively with my left hand. I trained myself to be like everything with left. So I have a journal that's like bright gold with a gold pen usually, because I did a shamanic journey with a drum journey, and part of one of my gifts was a golden pen and a golden book. So I have this journal that I write exclusively with my left hand so I can be present with it. And I tend to like, if something comes up in a day, I'm like, I'm super grateful for this, I'm super grateful for that.
Read that. That was yesterday. I like injured my wrist. That's my left hand.
Yes, bro.
I had to write something because I write in my journal every day. I was like, I have to write something. And today, camera or anyone listening, I have injured my right wrist, so I'm unable to write today. And I wrote that with my left hand, and it's completely different to
well done, bro. Beautiful tie-in. Beautiful tie-in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've started to be more present with that, and I've started to write more of just a general free flow. Like your gratitudes will get incorporated into it, and then whatever like my like insane dreams have been, and then whatever I'm present with, so I can look back at the end of like the week or a few days and be like, okay, this is what I was deep in, this is what I was going through. So I'm making it more of an effort to do it daily, and for the way that you've written there and just drawn a line and be like, just to make sure I write something every day, which also is a tie-in that I can say to you face to face. The 100 days of writing, the way you inspired me through that last year, like to the way I managed to do it from March to August this year, bro, every day. So big up, and I sincerely appreciate you for that. Because do you know
that when you said it before, like I was like, wow, because it's like there were some days and like some of the videos had like 3 views, and it's like, well, it might not be that interesting for everyone. Me just sat there like writing. So then I switched out like halfway through and just like delivered the raps as over something. But then some days you think, like I know it was one of them. It's like, right, do you know what? I'm gonna put it out there to make sure I do it to hold myself accountable. And what better way to do it than to be like, I'm gonna do this? And it's like then you're like, oh, I gotta do it. I said I'm gonna do it. Right? Like, I mean, it's So because you've told me before, but I thought it was really beautiful why you chose IAM13E.
Yes.
So say that story, man. Because what it means. Because the way you said it to me before, it was
in essence, like 1 and 3 have a huge significance to me. Born on the 26th of the 2nd, so divide that in 2, 13. And 13 also has like a symbolism of like life and death in numerology. Without going too deep into numerology, and the reason like I say I am B is it's a reminder that when someone says my name, I am part of them and they are part of me. So it's a mirrored like unification, and it's also a sense of like claiming that this is me, the most authentic version of myself. Because I know I can talk about consciousness and taking girls to strip clubs. Like I'd never say that I am a role model. I'm a real model. Like I speak my human experience. So some of the stuff can be fucked, and some of the stuff would be like, okay, cool, vibing along. So it's a presence and also a reminder to check into myself. And I say I have like the fire side of me and the water side. Water side, Blaze. Like I'm a water sign. Like my sun is in Pisces. So like Blaze reminds me flow, go with it, calm, chill. And I have Blaze, which is very boundaried, warrior energy, like I ain't fucking about. And B is kind of in the middle of being like, I know when to be like full force and go ham, and also when to chill. So it's a sense of it's in essence a fucking spell. It is a spell for me to come back into presence and to recognize that no human being is separate. So when you told me before, and I thought I'd let you say that to because I thought it was to the people them.
Man. So what about your background then? Like what come first, like the music or like the spiritual path? Were you like were your parents spiritual? Is this something you found yourself?
Do you know what? I was always that kid, and I still am now. I ask why. Like I always have this level of like playful curiosity. I always want to know why this happened, or if someone says something's going on with that and this, and like why this, why that. So I'd always wanted to like work things out and ask those questions. I've always been quite an intuitive kid. I would say that like my mum, like she used to have dreams a lot that would come true, and it was to a mad level where she would journal them and think it should be like, I know XYZ is happening, and boom, it would happen. So I'd say like that exploration of you know my mum's influence, and also she would always say that like I was like the upgraded version of her. So I used to have also like dreams. I used to like see all sorts of mad stuff as a kid, like in rooms and all sorts, and literally trying to explain to an adult, like I'm seeing figures in the corner of rooms and being like, ooh, they got two choices. Either they can listen to you, or they're gonna be like, well, are you on something, or are you like? So it was a fine balance. So I tended to explore that. I used to like, friends used to joke that such a spiritual bastard. Yet they were the same friends that when they're going through a crisis or like where something coming up, they'll be like, yo, B, like, I feel like this. And the maddest thing now for being joked about, spiritual bastard, I get paid to be spiritual, do you know what I mean? I get paid to live in authenticity with myself, to be able to be consciously aware of what I'm doing, and also know the points where like the being can be a playground and a temple. So continuing to enjoy that. So I'd say it's been a consistent journey, and also like part of like my family was like quite religious. My family was sort of split between atheists, like Muslims and Christians. So it was a really interesting dynamic, and also a really like beautiful times where like Eid fell on Christmas Day, and you know both sides of family could get together, which was really lovely. So even with that, I'd always wondered, I was like, where did dinosaurs fit in to the grand scheme of things? It was like, how do different religions have a different perspective on pretty much saying the same thing? What is the like the truth for me? And also continuing to dive into like myths and legends. And there was this one book called A Secret History of the World by a guy named Jonathan Black, which broke down, for example, like Valentine's Day was a pagan ceremony.
I've looked into Valentine's Day. Let me just write down, what was it? It was The Secret History of the World. Secret History of the World by Jonathan Black. History of the World by Jonathan Black. And he broke down all of like, for example, the Valentine's Day was originally repatterned from an occult or a Rosicrucian, if memory serves me correct, celebration of fertility. So they would like sacrifice goats. They would be around this square, and they would whip like women with these these like whips made out of goats and all sorts. And it always like made me question, like, why? So it just kind of went from that, to be perfectly honest. And having that point of like, I really rate and respect where like people can come into like when they can be so in their faith, in their being, like I really rate that. Like walking into church and people like overcome with the Holy Ghost and speaking in tongues, like cool, like I really rate and respect that. And there was a part of me that was like, I felt like I was broken, like why am I not necessarily feeling that? So it encouraged me to then explore like my path or what makes sense to me, and also to have those moments where deeply unlearning things that I thought were true for most of my life, and it just being like, fuck. That's the hardest part though, isn't it? Unlearning something is way harder than learning something.
Definitely.
I mean, if it's that deep rooted or that ingrained, it's like what we spoke about just a minute ago. It's like saying like when you get into your 20s or whatever, and it's like you like if everything you've been taught up until then, it's like that's like been hardwired. Like, do you mean it's like freaking it is. It's that's harder than learning something new is easy, really. Like, do you mean your brain is like, no matter what age you are, like you've got the brain is plastic, like the plasticity in the brain. You can rewire neural pathways until the day you die. Do you know what I mean? But like, actually like removing and cleaning it up is
definitely. And I found that from that, like, and going off, you could say off the path, so to speak, and doing some fuckery along the way, like I've come back to what I see and feel is my truth, and being aware of the nature of awareness, the teachings from like Buddhism, the like all different sorts of religions, or just having great conversation where someone will spit game, or like Ram Dass. I have this thing where I love listening to Ram Dass, but I will listen to Ram Dass over a liquid drum and bass playlist. I love it because I can be vibing away, I can embody what Ram Dass is saying, get some game, and also like, you know what I mean, best of both worlds, boogie. So it's for myself, and that is a meme for like finding the delivery method that resonates with me for that particular thing, and then embodying what I see as it, and knowing that the person here is different to the person, or should I say human being here is different to the human being yesterday, and it'll be different to the human being tomorrow. And I'm okay with the upgrade, I'm okay with the unlearning, as fucking frustrating and remarkable as it may be. Like I'm in here for a journey, and everything that I feel I'm anchoring towards is like exploring what it means to be human, and what is a human being as opposed to a human doing. Do you know what I mean? Because
earlier on, Stress of Roots, I said there was a quote, a C.S. Lewis quote, that said it was day to day nothing changes, but if you look back over time, everything's different.
Bars.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones. It's like just showing up each day and like doing the little pieces, because it's like I was saying, like in my like prior to my son being born, really, like I was always in a mindset of like fucking gimme, quick, why am I not getting results? Not interested. Do you mean I want this, I want the next thing, give me this. like never had the patience to sit there and really like, okay, well, if I'm going to learn something and do it properly, I need to fucking do a little bit each day. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like now I'm learning Spanish, I'm learning Arabic, I'm learning piano. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm learning all these things, and it's like the patience before, like, and it's like we like saying like the old me would have not had the patience, and I always say like, I wish I found this earlier. I wish I started doing this earlier. And it's like, nah. You weren't ready. You weren't ready for that then. Do you know what I mean? It's like always remind yourself, well, okay, you're doing it now. Now you started.
So, question to you: what does patience mean to you in that?
Patience means to persevere through when you think you're shit or you think it's not coming quickly. Do you know what I mean? So you get this like, oh, this is taking ages, or like it's not working. I'm no good at this. And it frustrates me. I see it in my son now.
Hey, he's one of your biggest teachers. You know what I mean?
I see him now, and like he'll say things like, "Oh, I'm not doing that because I'm no good at it." And it's like, it's like, do you mean? It's like, I can't say you are. It's like I can only like what you were saying about the. I don't know if we were recording them, but like when you said about the child, if you like heal the parent with like body formation or alignment and posture, that will automatically correct it in the child because it's a mirror image. And it's like trying to do the thing where you do, not say. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, if I'm saying to like, say if you say to your kids, do this, do that, this is amazing, and it's like, but you're not like the typical like cliche dad on the sofa watching a TV or whatever, but telling them not to. It's like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're leading by example, and you're showing them as opposed to like saying, look, you must do. It's not a tell, because I recognize a pattern in myself. If I'm told to do something, you must do that. There's an automatic response in me like, fuck that. It's not happening. If so and so's deep the game, or when I've been taught how to do something, show me how. Let me like guide me. If there's points where I'm like leave me alone, like there's a whole wonderful learning process in that, like so I feel you, and the fact that you have an awareness of it, because realist talk, the things that you're doing now, like on a grand scale, like they're not only affecting like your next generation, it has implications for the next 7 generations going forward, and the last 7 generations. It's this whole concept of the children's fire. So like everything that human beings do and adopted from indigenous cultures, like what we do now and how we show up in the world, and especially with all of the madness that keeps coming at us left, right and centre, it's pulling those things to the surface about, like you said, you're seeing a mirror image of you, and now you're in a place where you're deep in all of these things, the Spanish, the Arabic, playing keys, and you're ready. And this is the I suppose to quote like my structural integration mentor, he says, time is a non-linear construct in which things move in an apparently irreversible order. Like our perception of time is mad. Like yet we know that it's already tomorrow in other parts of the world, yet it's still today here. We can get on a flight when things are easy enough to get on flights to go somewhere that is in a completely other country, but we've left and it's literally like 5 minutes difference in terms of our local time. So
it's that. Have you ever seen that? I don't know whether it was real or not, but there was that like meme tweet, and it was about 9/11. It's like, so the Russians are like a day ahead of us. Why didn't they warn us? Like, they're in the future. Why didn't they tell us it was going to happen? Like, I don't know how much, like, whether someone's done it as a parody or whether it's like someone's like, I was like, wow.
I love that.
But it's like, I remember reading a mad article once in New Scientist, and they said it was an argument for the future influence in the present.
Interesting.
And it was like fucking, it was one of them which was a bit fucking, right, do you mean? But it was like, they were saying like, because in this dimension, like you say, like we are moving forward as like as 3-dimensional beings in this experience that we're having. We are moving from here to here, but like, who's to say here to here isn't just one body? Like, and I remember someone like doing it as a piece of art, and they drew like the human body as a snake.
Interesting.
Like the elder and the baby is like the tail, but it's like it was one being, and it was like there was no like. Do you mean?
Oh, when you find that again, please.
Yeah, I'll try and ping it over, man.
That sounds cool.
Do you know what I mean? Because like you say, in the 4th dimension, there's no time, and there's time is that next dimension to this. Yeah. So when you go back to like, let's talk about the dreams.
Yeah.
Because this is something I'm about to embark on. I'm about to embark on a astral projection course.
Amazing. Do it.
So I'm a member of Mind Valley. I don't know if you find any of the Mind Valley stuff, but I signed up. What was it? Been a member now for a couple of months. Just fucking absorbing this stuff, but there's so much on there. And there's so much good shit on there. It's like, oh, which do I want to do? And it's like, be patient, calm down. What do you want to do? So I've done like done Jim Quick's
speed reading.
Yeah, but his super brain thing and memorizing. Which is really good.
Talk to me.
That was good. So he's like, it's all like, again, it goes back to being a child. So like picturing, putting things into picture, putting things into story, because children are the best learners. So a lot of it is based around like, basically like if you want to memorize something, say you want to memorize a speech or something, you like take a room in your house and you have like the location method, for example. So say you take your kitchen and you got your sink here, you got your table there, and it's like to memorize a morning routine, like the first thing, like he uses his one for example, and he's like the first thing he does is remember his dreams. The second thing he does is make his bed. Then he brushes his teeth with his left hand because it wires the uses like we were saying with the writing. But then he says, like, don't, like, when you do the location method, don't make it so that it's realistic. So don't, like, put the sink as, like, brushing your teeth because it's makes too much sense. It's like, remember your dreams. Like, your dreams are, like, bubbling away and you're watching your dreams in the sink. And when you start to imagine it, it's like, oh, yeah, you're imagining your fucking dreams in the sink. Make your bed. So imagine your bed is, like, on the... So that, this is my room. It was, like, the next thing as I walk around is the dining room table. So you got like your mattress on the table and you make your bed on the table, which is like would never happen. You're not going to sleep on your fucking table. So it's like these things, like when you're imagining as you're going around, they're going to stick in your head. And you go in, it's like, oh wow, like turn into picture. And like he said that's children are the best at naturally doing that, like doing like making up stories and like mad like ideas in their head of like. Then that was like a lot of it. So you got location and also it's like memorizing a shoppiness. The one he used was. So he said, right, avocados. So you've got a list of 10 items to remember. So he goes, avocado. He goes, right, so the first part of your hair, you got your head. So he goes, right, smash the avocado on your head. You've got a load of avocado on your head, and then you remember to get the avocado from the store. No, you've got blueberries. Put some blueberries up your nose. So it's like, and you're imagining yourself doing this. You put some blueberries up your nose. You've got broccoli coming out your mouth, avocado on your head. He goes, you don't need to write any of this down because you've like sat there and you thought through it. Like, right, cool. Goes to the shop's like, right, avocado, blueberries, broccoli, eggs in the Adam's apple, like, do you know what I mean? Like on the shoulder you got like the collard greens hanging off your shoulders, like, do you know what I mean? Like flappy things.
That's super interesting.
Man.
That's the nature of embodiment, like the fact that our body literally tells the story. And also even on that, like our brain processes about 4,000 bits of information per second, which is cool, but your body processes 4 trillion bits of information per second. So even from that, you're saying there's a brain-body connection, also like subconscious repatterning. Yo, Jim Quick, Mind Valley, sign me up. Do you know what I mean?
But the next one, I'll see if I can find the
link in the description.
What's the
I've got, if you two want to
bless up.
butter on it in case you're
Blessings, bro.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you, King.
vegetarian or breads, whatever, but I'm making some for quite a few.
All right,
Thank
mate.
you, bro. Appreciate that muchly, man.
My
some water or anything like that.
Yes, please.
Ben. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
please.
signed. So yeah, the next one. Oh, where is she? The astral projection one, but it's like really interesting. Like Vision from here, he put up a thing the other day. I can't find him. I'll show you afterwards rather than waste the time on here trying to scroll through something on the phone. But he put something up the other day. It was like the CIA redacted the missing files of the studies that they were doing on astral projection, like back in the 80s. Like saying, it was really interesting, but it's like for so long it's been missed out. But this woman, man, I'm gonna go through that.
She the same woman that does the ESP as well?
Jade Shaw, I think her name is.
Interesting. Because I watched a documentary a little while ago that touched on.
I'll load up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I watched this documentary that touched on something very similar, and also how like they were training people with ESP and even blind people to be able to like read stuff again because of like to tap into that level of extrasensory perception. Like some amazing Russian dudes, like, so for you being able to do that, anchor, like, bro, travel.
Here she is. So it's is it Jade Shaw?
Okay, cool.
So it's don't really, but that's the next one I'm going to do. I was going to do something else, but it's like, no, that kind of was like, nah. I was like, so I remember like seeing people on YouTube and that do it in the past, and I've looked at them like, I don't know, man, because it's like the trouble with YouTube. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like you can end up down fucking rabbit holes
easily.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, but like.
We've all done it.
Do you know what I mean? We said me and Michael spoke about it like it's really good. We were saying about like talking to people about the whole pandemic situation. And me, I'm very set on the like kind of like anti-establishment or anti-big pharma, anti-big tech. Like I'm not.
I feel you.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, and when they're all colluding together, it's like, whoa, like alarm bells ringing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm in that world, but I said the trouble is if we don't go out into society and talk to people on the other side of the spectrum, we can become in these echo chambers, and we can like constantly have this shit repeated to ourselves that we don't.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
That we don't. That we end up down these rabbit holes, and it's just constantly the feedback loop of the same stuff, and then like this is how we go down there. It's like talking to people about like being like microchipped and stuff. It's like it's not that deep. Like there's conspiracies going on that you don't have to go that far down. It's like this happening, but like this is, do you mean? But your imagination left unchecked can lead you down some pathways. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And it's like what Edward Snowden said, and Edward Snowden said that like the thing when he used as the example of like things not being sexy. Do you know what I mean? So it's like people love scandal, they love sexy. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like we all want like the Bohemian Grove, we want the sacrificing and shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, what are they up to? He goes, but when in reality, you like no one wants the real conspiracy that's happening right in front of you, because it's not interesting. It's a bunch of blokes meeting at these meetings, deciding the fate of your future, which in like economic terms, which is fucking just as fucking petrifying, but it doesn't seem it because it's just like, oh, they're just there.
There's no goat heads and like,
there's no goat heads, and they're like fucking dressed up in fucking like funny outfits and shit. Do you know what I mean? I suppose it comes to like what we were saying earlier about stories and shit. I mean, like humans love like to be attached to stories, and
there's ritual in that. That's where like even a lot of our human evolution has been based on that. Like even within like African culture, a lot of it was orated. And this is where when things then got like written down or then burnt, there's a whole like tribes, cultures of human beings that don't recognize it, because it was then like converted to a written documentation, and the tradition and the story wasn't necessarily written down. So
I know that in the Native Americans, I know that's the case with them as well, and everything was by tongue. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's all passed down by tongue. And I watched something earlier, and it was really disturbing. So it was Christopher Columbus. It was writings from Christopher Columbus. And the initial parts of the writings, it's basically his report on the findings when they land in America, and he's saying like,
when he discovered America.
But he's talking about like the natives that were there at the time. He's basically saying these are the most generous, beautiful people that we've ever met. They will give you anything, they will share anything with you. They hold nothing, they hoard nothing. They're like, do you mean? And he goes on to like praise these people and say how amazing and how beautiful they are. And then the last paragraph swiftly just snoops in with like, I reckon we could have these with servants with only 50 men. After writing like so elegantly about the people, and then he just swifts in there. It's like, yeah, with only about 50 men, we could probably take these as servants. It's like fucking wow. Do you know what I mean? It's like
shit.
And it's like that when you're saying about why, and it's like one of them was a why moment for me. It's like, why has that part of the world become so insidious and so mechanically driven? Why has that happened there? Why is the power there? Why did that not happen in those societies? Why were they able to live in equilibrium for so long? And why? And like there's certain things like I can't remember the guy's name, but he was he was saying about when because the women were like the ones who were basically in charge, so the men were like and they said like these Western like generals were fucking outraged when they sent women to come to the table to come and talk to them. It's like, what the fuck, like, do you mean like really outraged that they'd sent women? It was like really fucking what's it called, what's the word I'm looking for? Disrespectful, like they seem that, but like obviously to them it's like, no, they're like, and I remember like hearing other people saying like, put like a mother in charge of the nuclear weapons. It's like, rather than some fucking like some robot,
literally. And I suppose to speak to what you were saying about part of the why, as men mostly, we're driven by logic, this idea of like this equals this. Women are driven predominantly, in my judgment and awareness, by emotion. And generally they have so many more hormonal processes and neurons and all sorts, which I as a man can endeavor to seek more awareness of, but I recognize I will never fully understand. And I say that to say this: most of the cultures, most of traditions within the Western world have been driven by head. It comes back to the 4,000 bits, to heart, body, 4 trillion bits. And a lot of cultures in and around that space were driven by heart and connection to everything around us. We live in cities which are basically like circuits. Like if you were to take a bird's eye view and see all the cars, it's this nearly identical to a circuit. And energy moves in a direct format but loses its capacity, whereas energy in nature moves in spirals. Things have to move around, and when we're in boxes, watching boxes, holding boxes, like we're only going to be limited to a box. Do you know what I mean? So that's so mad. That last paragraph has literally done something different to me, bro. Thank you for sharing.
It's like, it was like, whoa, because like it's like, oh, like the way he so beautifully described them, just to be like, with only 50 men we could take them as servants, just fucking, and that was it. There was no like strategy. Just like, fucking, it's it is. It's interesting because I know that the sort of like the Eastern. Because they say Western philosophy, but I don't know how you would describe as Western philosophy, because it's like Eastern, and that was like the true Western philosophy, right? You would go back, I'd just say. But then again, I suppose it would probably mirror early Eastern philosophy, I would say, probably, right? Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism. Like, I remember, and to talk what you were saying then about the heart, Gabor Mate said something really interesting recently. And he said about... the discussion was like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, these kind of people. And he said they're very fucking brilliant, very fucking intelligent people. He goes, but you have to remember we have 3 hearts. And he said, this isn't just some woo philosophical science I'm talking to. He goes, science has shown we have 3 hearts. We have one in the head, we have one in the heart, and we have one in the gut. And he says he goes, they have all head. And he goes, without heart and gut, it will come unstuck. You need all 3 of them. I was like, wow, it's powerful, man. He said by science, he's like, people always try to go so rigorous on the science, and he said, but science doesn't. Science still doesn't know how to measure love. So you can't put love in a test tube. And he said, so therefore, love isn't real by science's terms because you can't measure it. There is no way to measure love at present, he said, but you name me one mammal that doesn't need love to function and survive. I was like, whoa, like it was like I was blown away by by what he said. I was like, fucking hell, that's like, do you mean it's true? And like I think we're so caught up in science, so to speak, and like science is fucking amazing because science is basically you being the person being inquisitive. That is science, right?
The whole premise of what I understand as science as well is, firstly, modern science came from mystery schools. Like people, alchemists and all sorts, herbalists, and even pharmaceuticals. The reason pharmaceuticals are the way they are is because they can't patent nature.
Yeah.
So you change things. Like paracetamol is basically like willow bark and something else to make paracetamol. But I say that to say this, like, that also the essence of science is to have an idea and be like, okay, let me prove it wrong.
Yeah.
And as opposed to it, as you're saying, being like a rigid thing, someone proves it wrong, then people are like, okay, cool. It also comes back to the whole sense of like germ theory, which has governed most of our medical like viewings, and terrain theory as well. I'm not going to say too much in that. I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I'm around a lot of science doctors and, like, I don't know, quantum physicists and all sorts, because why not? So it's an invitation for people to explore about the nature of coming back to this idea of environment and also what you put into the environment. If the environment around a cell is good, obviously it's going to have an impact. The best way I can describe it, you walk into a room and you know like how you can go into a room and instantly just be like, I'm chilled, good, feel good. You can't explain it, but you feel good. Yeah. But you know when you walk into a room as well, and someone's had an argument, and that room is just like dirty. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Similar thing. Environment. We as beings are an organisation of cells that also respond to our environment, and human beings and how we train our awareness, what we put in. I think even you said that on the mushrooms and stuff podcast about like being mindful of like what you're watching, what you're seeing, and it's like the mental diet, because if you sing.
I spoke to Michael Jenkins about this a minute ago, and I said I doubt. So my YouTube feed is generally quite dark, like bleak, fucking talkings of happenings, and do you know what I mean? You could probably imagine the type of shit that YouTube wants to feed me. Do you know what I mean? And it's I have to dip in and dip out, because I get a lot of my inspiration from that. A lot of my fears are what these people are talking about. So I amplify my fears. I tap into this, but I have to be aware of what I'm doing. I can't mindlessly consume this shit. I have to fully be like, okay, I'm aware of what this is doing to me, and I can feel it on my body. Like the other week, it was like, 2 days out before Christmas, I've stayed away from anything on YouTube, because it was coming up to Christmas. It's like, right, I'm about to have a week off, and I want to be with family. It's like, I don't want my head in that space. Right, cut it off now, and then I'll go back next week, because prior to that, I've been writing some fucking really good stuff. But it's it's projecting my fears, but I'm amplifying them to also project them to give me some more stuff to write about, oh shit. But then me writing about that and then creating that into something and letting that go and being like, whew, it's like a fucking weight. Release, it's a release. Do you know what I mean? Rather than venting these things up and panicking and worrying of all these things that really I've got no fucking control over. Do you know what I mean? So let's control what I can control, which is
your creativity,
which is sometimes easier said than done. But you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that's it, and I just do that and everything's okay.
Once you've named it as well, that's the next stage, because I don't know about you, but I find once I've listened to it, I've created a song, I caught the vibe, laced that take, and I'm like, boom, we'll listen to it. Even when the mixing and mastering process, deepening into it, sometimes I find for myself, I'll say a bar in a way that I'm like, that was smart, but then I actually sometimes I don't recognize, it's only after a few listens that about the double and triple entendres that I intend to put in, but then the other ones I didn't necessarily put in, because it's a deeper reflection of it. And it's also as I was saying about my gratitude, the observing myself, because then there's a deep level of I suppose medicine, I would say, from that. And my question to you as well is, do you find, how does your writing or creativity change based on if you're writing from a place of confronting your fears, or writing from a place of love?
I very rarely write from a place of love.
Interesting.
Which I probably should do. It's something I need to explore. I feel I want to explore, because I consume, because I don't just consume what that dark shit that YouTube wants to feed me. Obviously, I've told you I'm a fucking member of Mind Valley. It's not all I promote. Do you know what I mean? It's so the stuff I input into my head is very healing, self-help, inspirational type stuff. That's the stuff I want to bring in and keep. But like, I'm also in this because one of my things that I've got in my mind, what I want to do now, like I want to go. The goal is to go to India, start of 2023 to do my yoga teacher training.
Bam!
In Rishikesh. So that's the goal. Go there 2 months. And to save up enough money to make sure the bills are covered here for 2 months. But I want to take the family with me, so the missus and kids will come. Maybe put them into like an Indian school for a couple of months if they're feeling it. If not, just like let them be there.
Congratulations in advance.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's it. They say that, don't they? Say like, feel that you've. Oh, not again. Not again. It's all right. So good. We've lost power again. Right. That's on. So hopefully you can see me. I'm gonna fucking call Costa quickly, let him know what's happening. Cool. But yeah, and part of that, like, I wanted to start exploring more like spoken word stuff, but like try and do some like guided meditation.
I heard. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like,
definitely.
But like splitting. It's gone again. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in gorilla mode again. I've got the light on my phone, like trying to light us up. There you go. But yeah, it's this is a goal of mine because it's like, and then I like, do you mean it's like, I also want to at some point just like trying to figure out how to do it. The trouble is, starting it later in life with my family.
Get the heater up.
Yeah, it's the heater, I think. Yeah, I think the heater tripping it.
Right, starting it later in life. It's harder. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like there's more commitments. What's harder? More challenging. Let's not say harder.
Yeah.
Because harder is like not a.
There are different variables.
Yeah.
I'm running again.
Cool.
Sorry about that.
The audio's
Sweet.
back on, is it?
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's literally just the heater.
Cool.
Right, sweet. Perfect.
So sorry, it's gonna get a bit cold now, but
It's alright.
That's all right.
Layers.
still on. So I'll leave it in the centre for you.
Yeah, it's still actually hot.
It's still emanating heat.
Perfect.
Sick. Yeah. So yeah, that I feel like is a way of putting something good into the world rather than just putting. Because I like listening to music with meaning that is dark and touches the soul and is like, do you mean? And I like putting that out, but it's like I feel I don't just want to contribute to that. Do you know what I mean? It's I want to, yeah. Which is another reason like I'd like to talk to you more off the camera as well.
Definitely.
Like, because I know that you're heavily involved and your missus as well, right? She's yoga teacher.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So putting on like between like here and Bath, there's going to be some amazing things happening even within like in April. She's going to be doing a lot of like park activations in and around Bath. So watch this space for that. And she did it in Bali. And yeah, she was away for like 5 weeks. She'd done it there, which was a really interesting process. Even for like, she went out, I stayed back, and it was the first time in like years that I'd like been on my ones for that amount of time. The first week was really interesting. I was like, raw, like I live with her, I work with her, and all sorts. And then being like, raw, okay, like so who is Blaze?
Yeah.
Like outside of the brand and all sorts. The first couple of days I was like, raw, like feels really strange. And then I had to relearn to like relearn me, and the growth that came from that was flipping phenomenal. So even then when like I found she came back, there was a real integration because I'd re-met myself the same way that then she'd went on a journey and met herself through yoga. Because yoga's gonna bring up things and poses. Like a lot of the misconception I found about yoga is even my judgment at first, like I'm just gonna do a few flouncy little stretches and I'm gonna be in this pose. But fuck that! Like when I'm like, I've got aloe moves. So man, like Dylan Warner, like doing Dylan
Patrick
Warner.
Beach.
Hey, trust.
Megan Curry, I really like as well. She's a G, man. Yeah.
That's it.
No, it's amazing to talk to someone who like knows these people I'm talking about. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like fucking
Fully.
Yeah.
So like, even with that, like, I found I've relearned my perception of yoga even throughout my yogic journey about the engagement. I'm doing a simple sun salutation and I'm sweating afterwards because the engagement is correct, and then how I then hold myself after that. And then I know when I'm in like a lizard pose or anything that hip openers, and I'm like, there's moments like I don't want to fucking be here, why am I here? I'm like, okay, this is the pose, what am I not like looking at? Or big heart openers, like doing a heart opening class and then like going to interact with like doing like workshops with kids or whatever, like bruv, like I turn into a milk. Like I'll openly, there's something so, in fact, like, let me repattern that. Like I get really connected to that level of like open-heartedness, and then being like vibing with hip hop with kids, and that whole sense of like it all comes from the heart when I spit, and then to be in the body as well. It's that whole connection again. So yeah, definitely. Like, what are you doing hatha?
That is what the main the base of it will be. But it's full 500 hours. Because it's over 2 months.
Okay.
So I'm like, do you know what? You want to do it? Just do it. And you can take the time to do it. Like,
that would be dope, bro.
Do you mean? And it's like, because I was initially looking, because I had Louise come on. Well, she didn't come on. She's in Thailand. She's really inspirational, man. Because she's been like on like. It was like one of the things I said on the podcast where I was like, oh man, it's like overnight. And I was like, actually, let me retract my statement, because that's like a real insult to you to say like it's just happened like that. Because it obviously hasn't. And she's like, yeah, it's like obviously been 8 years in the making. But like, for you to see me here now, like obviously, it's like the iceberg of success type thing, innit? Yeah. And she's saying like, the work she's been putting in. So she went to Thailand to do her yoga teacher training recently. And then just like was like, yep, cool, I'm staying, I'm doing this. Hasn't come back. She was working at Wessex Water. She's like, nah. What I mean, like,
amazing.
And it's like she's like, it's like what she felt and learned while she was there. Like, not just like poses, because again, like, you speak to most people, they just think yoga is, but it's not. It's like you say. I mean, and the one for me, the thing that really gets me most was metta meditation. So love and kindness meditation, where I'm actively trying to invoke happiness on someone. That is the one that always gets me tearful, and they're like,
I've never deeped that.
If you're not, man,
nah, please send.
So I've got the I use the Sam Harris app. Waking Up is his meditation app.
Oh yeah.
It's really good. So it's not just meditation on there. He's got like lectures on there, and he's just actually uploaded the full Alan Watts collection in partnership with like the Alan Watts, his family. And all that. So they've got all the Alan Watts talks on there from now, like I mean the lectures, but he's got like David White doing some poetry on there. He's got like, there's a guy on there who does like the Stoicism meditations, but metta is the one, like, because usually 9 times out of 10 I'm just practicing meditation to just be present. Do you know what I mean? And like hopefully that ripples out into my everyday life, which it has done. It took fucking ages to notice.
Patience.
What the fuck am I doing this for? You know what I mean? It's like fucking, but like again, like over time, day to day, nothing changes. You look back, it's like, wow, everything's changed. Do you know what I mean? This but on there, like that one, it's like, it's always like the tricks, like picking someone like non-complicated relationship, like your kids or something, and it's just like like genuinely wishing them happiness. Or like the times that like I've had tears roll down my face, like from meditation. It's like, wow. And like one that gets me like is then looking at your younger self and wishing that child happiness, knowing everything that they've got to face coming ahead of them, and everything you've been through, and then like wishing genuinely, because you genuinely want that person, that's you, and you genuinely want that person to be free of suffering, you genuinely want that person to be happy. And it's like one of them ones where you start, because you can do the ones as well where you start off with someone uncomplicated, then you go to like someone neutral, like someone you might buy coffee from in a shop, you say good morning to, but you don't know, then you wish on them, and then you wish it on someone who's complicated, may have wronged you in the past, like, do you mean? It's like, that's the hardest one, man, that and yourself, because like but I find the when doing it to the child version of you, it's a lot easier than doing it just trying to do it to yourself, like, do you know what I mean?
Interesting.
But
that's deep. I know that share, bro.
I will. Share. It's Waking Up, it's called. I mean, I think like
Like, even for you generally to be able to communicate that, I honor that, bro.
I think I can send you over like a month's free or something, man. On
Bro, I will dive.
if I can.
And also, another one you need to deep as well is optimize.me, because I recognise you were talking a lot about stoicism and like stoic quotes from like Marcus Aurelius. There's a whole principle on this where they break down like stoicism, like sacred economics, mindfulness, meditation, etc. But building in like an entire from fundamental like principles. Even like the nature of stoicism is, from what I've understood or understood from it thus far, is about not the fact that Stoics were ridiculously emotionless. It's because they had the ability to be able to choose their emotional states. But like if someone like modern day Stoic, someone cuts you up, instead of calling out one of dickheads, be like, okay, cool, like present with that, everyone's safe, cool, move on. I'm not going to attach to that, because
you never know what that person's going through. They could be on the rush to the hospital, their wife's dying or whatever. You don't know. But the other thing, what I got from it was learning to love what you already have right now. So like when you say like, I want the new iPhone, well, are you truly grateful, and do you truly love the iPhone you've already got? What's a new one going to do if you're not truly grateful and you don't truly love what you already have? What do you want a new one for? Like why do you even deserve a new one? Like, do you mean like be grateful for what you have? And yes, learning to love what is already there. Learn to want what you already have, and then you will be happy. You will be fulfilled. But it's what marketing companies really tap into. They're like, they know that's how the human brain works. Because this is
psychological warfare.
We want things. We like new things. I mean, it's like, even whether it's goals, whether it's things, it's like, achieve that, right, next. What am I doing? I mean, it's like, and they know that's how the human mind works, whether it's through us being hunter-gatherers and like that fruit tastes sweet, cool, and that was chocolate, and that tastes sweet. You know what I mean? But it's like eating that much of it as if you would the fruit is not good. So I know marketing companies are hot on that. It's like, how can we trigger them to get the new one, get the next one, the
colours, features, advantages, benefits.
You know what I mean? And it's so like stoicism is like, if you can really tap into that, so like what you said about not being emotionless but being more emotional about the things you do have, like really be grateful. And when J-Darts was on as well, I know that the conversation with him actually went a lot different than I thought the conversation was going to go. I thought we were going to enter into a realm of like
consciousness and
more like what the government's doing and stuff like that. But we didn't. We actually like fell more into what we're doing. Like, amazing. Like, gratitude. There's a lot to do with gratitude, breath work and stuff on that one. It's
he's really deep into his breath work and stuff as well. Fully integrated into the Wim Hof and all sorts, like that, and just generally being in cold water, like that is so beautiful. Like to that point where you get out and there's that tingling, that stick. Oh, I love that.
It's because I've been doing it 2018 I started.
Congrats.
So I started with the Wim Hof thing in 2018 and I was talking to Harvey, one of the professors at the jiu-jitsu school I trained at, and he was like saying like how he started it. But he was like, said he was doing it like with someone in Spain. I was like, man, you need to wait till the British winter kicks in. I said, that's when the challenge is. I go, it's all easy doing it in the summer. It's like, it's all right, it's cold, but it's like, it's when you're like, it's January and you're like, I don't want to get in. I don't want to get in. I want a warm one. And you just fucking just like, nah, do it. Get in. And like you say, like, it is fucking invigorating.
What do you find you've like learnt about yourself, or what do you find that you've gained from doing
cold showers?
If
to be honest, I'd say mostly it has probably taught me more determination and more grit and more discipline. I'd say it's been a part of discipline to be able to like say, I'm going to get in that cold shower. Because I never want to get in the cold shower. To this date, like it's been now? It's 2021. It's 8, 19, 20, 20. It's been 3 years now. Still to this date, it's like I don't want to get in that cold shower. Like, do you mean? It's like, but you do, and doing that each time, again, it's your determination, your ambition, like it's like we said, like that everyday thing is. I know that they say like the physical benefits of burning the brown fat away and the your veins as well. Like, do you mean like your cardiovascular system?
Yeah,
it's also great for that. But that I probably wouldn't say is as tangible for me as seeing myself as more of a confident person.
Well done.
That's what I would say. I would say. If there was anything tangible that I could get from it, apart from doing it just because I know it's good for me, I would say to explain to someone the tangible thing that I've got from it for doing it for that period of time is what I would say.
Dope.
Is done. Determination and ambition and confidence. Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
love that.
Breath work, I would say. I don't know. Breath work is really good in the morning, man. Especially Wim Hof, because it's just like the high, like a natural high. Do you know what I mean? Like the.
Have you ever done a like a holotropic breath work? Like
no,
bro. Like it's some people have more profound effects from doing holotropic breath work in like 45 minutes than they do on ayahuasca journeys, because of how it activates your cells, release of DMT, etc. For myself, like the first time I done it, there was just one point, right, where I literally felt like we'd done a movement workshop and stuff beforehand, over a series of weeks about like animal movements, because that's incredible. And then there was a point where literally getting to regain the breath and like literally feeling like my ancestors were carrying me across the floor. I just felt so held. And other times I've done it where, let's say, it's felt like I've been on recreational pharmaceuticals, like that level of buzz, that rushing, like raw, and that carries out throughout the whole day. And then it comes back to the point of like, why then would I need to get fucked up if I can use for my own breath? But then it's not as convenient. It'd be like, lads, what you say? Yeah, 45 minutes. Breath work, we out. Breath work, and we out. Do you know what I mean? It's a whole different flex. Yeah. You know what I mean? But having that sense of
I once said drugs are the lazy way to happiness. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have like monks who train their whole life to reach certain highs. It's like, well, you can just do that off of a substance. You know what I mean?
Although mushrooms are a wonderful gateway to consciousness. Yeah. Most say.
Yeah. And it's like with mushrooms, it's like not even just like the amount of mushrooms and the amount of things that mushrooms can do for us.
Yeah.
Not just like the psychedelic mushrooms, but like the lion's mane.
Yeah.
Turkey tail.
Reishi.
Yeah, reishi.
Even, have you seen them ones with that they're a specific type they're growing to replace leather?
No.
So it's formulated and it's stronger and more durable than leather, and has a more profound impact. And another one that put on certain sites actually eats plastic, and brings back balance from even like nuclear waste. Yeah. So all of this madness has been tapped into sea.
Paul Stamets talking about that. I don't know if it's Paul Stamets or someone else, someone in that realm of mycelial expert sort of field, and he was saying about the oil spills and stuff. So I guess it's the
bang out them shrooms.
Yeah, I remember. Do you know? We were at Rainbow Woods one day with the kids. There was a guy there with his family. He was just there, and he was out foraging for mushrooms. Epic. So I just went over, started chatting to him, and he was saying like he just did a course. He just went and like I think he got gifted like a weekend like course to like foraging mushrooms. And he was saying actually to talk about the nuclear ones. He said there's one kind of mushroom that one's edible, but if they're near a power plant, don't eat them because they actually absorb the nuclear. Because mushrooms could be so scary, but at the same time they're so. It's like anything though, innit? If you know what you're doing, like you're all right. But like just like with mushrooms, there are some that looks the same as the other ones.
Yeah,
Those ones are deadly, but those ones aren't.
There's a point where you actively seek training for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then, but that's the thing. Even with like, there is everything that can heal us, like give us nutrients and all sorts within our doorstep. Even from here, within the next like I don't know, 10 miles, there's everything that can support us. It's because we don't necessarily know how to. Also, on that note, bro, nettle crisps, stinging nettle crisps, they bang differently. You take the top off, like with the top few leaves off, the young ones when it's seasoned. Put a little salt and pepper, a little olive oil, 180 degrees, little nutritional yeast if you're feeling bougie.
Cook them or dehydrate them?
Cook them low, only like 5 minutes or so, bruv. They are so good. Yeah. Taste so banging. And when it was first introduced into my being, I was like, you want me to eat nettles? Like, I recognise the tea, but to just yam them away, bro, do it.
Do you know, I read somewhere once, they were saying that the needles on stinging nettles, they were actually, through evolution, the stinging nettles' defence against anything eating it, because they are so nutritious, they used to get eaten by so many beings. Do you know what I mean? Like, they all wanted to eat it. Bugs, mammals, like everyone was eating the stinging nettles.
Wow.
So to stop it like getting eaten so much, it developed this thing of like creating the little barbs, the nettles, to create the sting to deter the things from eating it, because it was so in demand. Like everyone wanted to eat it. Like, do you know what I mean? It was yeah,
that's a mind blower right there.
But we got on topic because you didn't finish talking about the breath. It was basically phenomenal to do it. It's one of those there's like so many different types of breath work to be held in a space, but ultimately when you're going through that process, there are like fear will surface a lot, and sometimes like you will have what's called technique, being real, where your body feels like it's going like into like it's locking up, but that's the whole point, to be able to like continue to breathe through that and to relax in it, because ultimately you're clearing all sorts of stories and pathways in your body that may not have been accessed, and you're actually breathing properly, because human beings generally don't actually get taught basic things like how to breathe and how to walk properly. Like, it's a madness. Because I know that they were saying like with if you put kids, try and encourage them to crawl or walk too soon, this actually really bad.
Oh, bro.
You just need to kind of just let them roll around and then they'll figure out themselves, and they will.
And literally, I like, this is what I've like come to learn through doing structural integration, like that whole so as babies are crawling, they're engaging their psoas, and they're like building the neural pathways in the psoas. As an adult, you don't necessarily utilize the psoas as much as you would, and the psoas is such a huge part and factor of connecting the top, the bottom, and everything. So by holding kids up when they're like when they're just learning to stand, like you're literally making gravity, like put all of gravity's weight onto the feet, and that's how kids get like flat feet. Or collapsed arches, and start to get like bow-legged, even like the walkers and all sorts. Like, it can do some mad things, and it's only because I've seen not only because I now have an awareness of patternings from observing bodies, and even myself. Like, I recognize I've worked hard to like lift my arches. And I asked Mom, did you hold me up when I was trying to walk? She was like, yeah. And it really hit the nail on the head for it. But that's the thing. If people don't know they're doing that, then it's not necessarily not wrong. But if there's no awareness of it, then people are going to do what they do because they feel like it's assisting in the process. But it's the same way with like a butterfly. If you ever see a butterfly hatching and you help it to open its wings, it won't live because it needs that struggle, that force to be able to allow the wings to come out and fly. So
me and my missus had this conversation earlier. So she's a support worker, and she's got like a bit of she's got a cold. She's like flu type symptoms. And she's like, the guy that she's supposed to be supporting tomorrow, so she rang up and said, look, I don't want to make vulnerable. And then she's like, I feel really bad because she's got a really good relationship with this guy, and he would have been looking forward. He would have seen her name on the board that it was her who was coming to support him that day. And she said, I feel really bad. But like, I was like, at the same time, it's that thing where it's like, you feel even more bad if you like fucking made them ill. Like,
yeah.
I said this same with kids. I said, you made your kids sad because you told them they can't have something which is actually bad for them, and they may not know it yet, and you made there was temporary pain and suffering, and a lot of parents can't bear to witness that suffering and pain, so they'll give the kid what they want, but in the long term it's actually detrimental. And is the parent a bad person? No, the parent's not a bad person. You can't go around and like saying you're a bad person because you've done that, and that's why your kid's like that. It's like that parent only wants to give love, and that
See
may
joy,
be the only way that they know how. They want to see the joy they get by giving them everything, but it's like, to be given everything is not always what someone needs. And I remember hearing I think it was Jordan Peterson who said it, and I said, oh well, that's a really interesting way of looking at it. And I seen Chester P put a post up about it as well, and I actually resonated with what he said. And like Chester P was saying, when he was helping the homeless in London, he said he went along to one guy one day, went to give him a sleeping bag, and the guy was like, what makes you think I need your help? What makes you think I want your help? Like how disrespectful of you is it to come along and assume that I want your help, that I assume I want a sleeping bag because I'm homeless? Like, it's like, and he was like, wow, it was like a real wiring point.
Wow.
Like, because someone's homeless, do I have to help them? Why must I help them? And it's something that Jordan Peterson said. I think it was him. And the way he described the story, though, it was a lot more based on like, you take someone in who doesn't really want to be helped, and you actually make both of your lives worse. Because that person needs to want to bring themselves out. So if you bring someone in, you end up fucking yourself up because you're trying to help someone who doesn't want to be helped. They're just fucking themselves up in the long run because they're getting the help that isn't what beneficial to them. That help is not going to help them learn or correct. It's like the when they say like the hardest thing to do is to let someone fall, but you need to let someone fall because they need to learn to stand up themselves.
Yeah.
No matter how heartbreaking it is, and it's harder for the ones that you love or you're closest to, because it's like, you've really got to resist. It's like, nah, man.
Yeah.
Don't pick them up.
Yeah.
Don't pick them up. Let them fucking fall because they need to. They need to learn. And it's fucking trouble is, it's fucking so easy to sit there and say it. Doing it in practice, watching someone go through these pains, these struggles, like it's a fucking tough thing to do, isn't it?
Every day, little by little, bro.
Just step by step.
Little by
What we like on time, are we?
Hour and 7.
Oh wow,
Okay,
cool.
safe.
Gone over. Wow. But yeah, that was beautiful, and
Yeah,
we should
bro.
probably fucking do it again.
100%. I'm in.
There's so much more we can talk about. We can just go on forever.
Interesting things there, especially the breathing. So like I've done, like Wim Hof breathing method.
Yeah.
So I had to go with that, and with Martina, it like unlocked something inside her where it sent her into like a real,
trip.
like not good. Like it made her very tense inside, like to go back to like a dark place. So I can see how that.
It's generation. That's also like not generational. Yeah, there's trauma unlocked to the body. So as you were saying, even by the way that you were mirroring her process, it was probably something like a childhood process that she went through, that she went back to, and a lot of like even by Chinese. Like under the lens of like Chinese medicine, the lungs, grief. So it's where we process grief, and so if there is a lot of unprocessed grief, or when people are like, when they're stressed, they're grieving, like, there's all sorts of process. It's why people are short of breath. So by being able to do that, it helps to process, like, it helps to process a lot of things.
Is there like a place that you've got all your knowledge down for people to access?
Yes and no.
Yes, I know.
Yes, there are some spaces, and more is coming. No, not all of it is there, but holler at me and I'm happy to share.
Yeah.
Like,
Is
yeah.
there a place you want people to go to look at it?
Oh, for that, I suppose.
Aim to be.
Yeah. www.aim, AIM2BE global.com. I have some blogs and stuff on there about structure integration, yoga, Reiki, energy work, and all sorts, and generally about music wise and all sorts. It's IAM13E.com, and it's the same IAM13E, IMB on Facebook, Instagram, and all. And I'm gonna hold myself accountable, and I will be doing lives again. just to unpack all sorts of stuff, because I like talking like this, and to share. Because if I've read something, or if I've if I've seen something, I want to be able to share it. So
Jim Quick, he said another trick to learning something quickly is to teach it.
So
Once you learn something yourself, to then teach that, he goes, and that will then, because you've now told someone else, you've also implanted that in yourself even more so. From that, do you know much about tremoring as well? That was something I come across recently as well.
yeah,
through trauma.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, she'd be good to chat to about that. Like, we did some of that. Like, so if you've got lots of trauma, it can be held up around
Your
your
hips,
So,
yeah.
like, you can actually feel like knots of like all the trauma. We went through all of that, like massaged it all out, and like she actually genuinely. Animals will shake.
But
Yeah, 100%. We are the only mammal that by design, like, if you're there like making sound, and like people, if you're doing it in the street, people are gonna think you're a bit crazy. But if you're doing it in a held space and people are like making sound, shaking, like you're literally getting rid of the trauma that's in your body, and it's one of the most beautiful and beneficial things you can do on a daily basis.
I can't remember the guy's name. So the guy who was talking about it, it's like his thing, and he was he in Hungary? He was somewhere, and he said the first thing that made him notice it and hit through his teachings was wherever he was, the bombs were going off, and he said he looked around the room, and he said the whole room. He said you had the adults. He said they were all there. They were very stiff. You could tell they were fucking worried, but they were all like just looking. He said then you had like the teenagers, like that sort of age group, who were like a bit more like, and he said then you had the kids. He said the young children, he said they were fucking tremoring, and he said they were all shaking. And he's like, wow, the non-tremoring of fear is something we've had instilled into us, a toxic belief or a toxic thing that we've been trained not to do over time. Stand up, don't be scared, you're okay, don't be scared, you're okay, all these words. Big boys don't cry, all these things that are instilled in you, and it's like, but it's a natural thing. And like you're saying about the animals, you watch a dog shake after it's scared, and then he said like if you do that and you go to sleep, you wake up and it's like fucking you're a new person, because you've the tremor. And I thought that was fucking like fascinating, like, because we are mammals.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's yeah. So tremor, people.
Tremor, shake
Make
it
some
out.
fucking noises.
Shake it out. All right, big love.
Les. Woo. Oh, wait there. We forgot to ask you. Personal meaning of life today.
Oh. Say again.
Personal meaning of life.
Purpose.
Today. Purpose. Love it.
Woo.
Wicked.